Moments of inspiration with Mandla Mkhwebane on Zoe Live Radio. The abundant life experience.
Hello, everyone, and greetings and welcome to Moments of Inspiration. Well, with Mandla Mkhwebane, today I was supposed to have a guest, but life happens, and so the guest is not able to make it. But I said, you know what? Let's just talk today. It's been a while that we've really spoken, had a heart to heart. But one thing that I want to say is that I want us to continue where we left off last week with our guest, Kendi Mpomadisha, where he spoke about, the power of repetition. And I want to continue with those thoughts. But before we do that, we haven't really spoken in a while. Like I said, I've been having a series of guests. This year it's been guest after guest after guest, and we've learned a lot. I'm really appreciative of all the guests that have come through. And we'll talk later about, what the guests have delivered over the last, 9 recordings since the start of the year. So we have started Moments of Inspiration, for those that are new, with the idea that we want to bring forth, really practical ideas and thoughts, around success, and really bring guests that are going to help us to make sense of some of the principles and to make sense of some of the ideas around success, and really, maybe even touch on all those ideas that we not normally speak about when we talk about success. So, our slogan here on Moments of Inspiration, it's we learn, act, and that's how we prevail, and that's how we want to keep it, that it's really in the learning that you are gonna be successful, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Sometimes what you don't know might be killing you. Sometimes what you don't know might be holding you back. And also, we've got the privilege really of people that have went before and went ahead of us. And we need to tap into that wisdom. We need to tap into that knowledge. We need to tap into that resource. And that's why we bring guests from different, spheres of life, different areas of success, different experiences, different knowledge pools and knowledge reserves to come and really deliver, and you will see when we talk about, the guests that we've had a little bit later, how we try to balance it out and really to bring people that we believe are going to add value. And here we really are about, adding value and really trying to bring the best out of you. But we do acknowledge, though, that it cannot be all us. It cannot be all, about what we deliver. That's why we say we help you to learn, but ultimately, and we hope that learning will drive you towards action, towards doing something with that knowledge. Because having a lot of knowledge and not acting on it, it's also self-deception, because it's almost like you're deceiving yourself. You can have a lot of knowledge. I believe the book calls it, puffed up with knowledge. You can be puffed up with knowledge, but you need to allow that knowledge, to be acted upon and to act on it, because that's the only way that you will prevail. So we also acknowledge that a lot of times we sit with a lot of knowledge, a lot of times we sit with a lot of information, but at some point we need to act on that information. We need to act on that knowledge. We need to act on those convictions, because that is when we are going to be able to bring lasting success. Moments of inspiration, has been long time coming. I started this idea and this concept of moments of inspiration as far back as 2013. I remember that time. Bless his heart. I had lots of conversations with the host of this platform, the founder of the platform that is hosting Moments of Inspiration, Thabo Mohasha. We spoke about it, and he helped me to bring it to reality. At that time, we're not even doing video, we're just doing straight podcasts, and the idea of Moments of Inspiration has always been, let's reach the masses. We've got the likes of Brian Tracy, the likes of Jim Rohn, and the likes of Dr. John Maxwell, and the likes of people who bring a lot of knowledge in the space of self-help and motivation. But not everyone can access, these giants. Not everyone can access, the materials of these giants. Yes, I know that the internet is open. You can go on YouTube and get and download and do all sorts of things, and podcasts. It's freely available. But I just thought that let's bring it home. That's why the ultimate dream of Moments of Inspiration is to really have this program, go mass, really go everywhere in terms of, community radio stations. And if there are community radio station people who are listening today, and you know what, you're looking for content, you're looking for some good motivational content. It's not just motivation, it's really inspiration. So that's why I try to stay away from calling it too much motivation, although when you look at it, you might say it's motivation. And there's nothing wrong with motivation, there's nothing wrong with motivation, but it's more about inspiration, because we hope that we can inspire you to action. We hope that we can inspire you towards success. We hope that we can inspire you towards doing something, with regards to your life. So that's why we are all about inspiration. And it's not just a moment of inspiration, but it's moments of inspiration. That's why, we try to bring it every week. We try to bring it to you on a weekly basis, so that you are continuously inspired, because you do need inspiration, you do need motivation, you do need, knowledge on a weekly basis. So that's why we really try, on a weekly basis to bring that, thought behind it. So, Moments of Inspiration, it's been a long time coming, and I'm really happy that we've managed to achieve a certain level of consistency. We'll be 1 year very soon, consistently broadcasting and consistently putting out content. And it's really great, because we are really hoping that this constant, communication, this constant, inspiration, this constant, knowledge that we're putting out there, that even 5 years from now, because it's still going to be relevant, trust me, 5 years, 10 years from now, that as we plant it on the internet and we plant it, out there in the world out there, that someone, maybe even your children, as you're watching, maybe even your children and your children's children might be able to get hold of it and really use this principle. So for me and for us, yes, we want to reach the masses and we want to reach as many people as possible. But the reason is because we want to contribute towards building of this nation. And this is one of the ways that we can contribute. So it's not just about getting the numbers, getting the masses. Yes, the numbers are important, but it's also about getting that one particular individual. So if I'm doing all of this for one particular individual that is going to grab hold of this and really run with it and really realize that success it's up to me at the end of the day. It's really up to me. It's not about about my neighbor, it's not about my parents, it's not about my pastor, it's not about my guru, but it's about me. What can I do? And that's what Moments of Inspiration is about. Since 2013, relaunched last year, it's about what can you do we are putting knowledge into your hands, but what can you do? What are you doing with what you are getting? What are you doing with what has been entrusted to you? Are you being a good steward? Are you someone that is going to take what you are learning and really plant it back, and really reap something out of it? So that's what Moments of Inspiration has been about, and we trust that you're enjoying it. And thank you so much for supporting us, and continue to support us, because we'll continue doing the best that we can. So 2022 has really been about a year where we said that let's sit down and really, just reflect, and really talk about really what does it mean to succeed? What are the principles that we need to be able to succeed? Because I've also realized that year after year, when the year finishes, or when the year starts, rather, people are saying that, it's a new year, new me. It's a new year, therefore it means that something miraculous is going to happen. But you know what? I've lived long enough, over 40 years in this world, to understand and to realize that success doesn't just happen by coming into a new year. Success doesn't happen by just you sitting around and hoping and wishing and praying and that you will succeed. Success comes when you push and when you really make it happen. It doesn't just come on its own. It doesn't just happen on its own. It doesn't just fall from the sky. It doesn't just happen by a process of osmosis. It doesn't just happen because you associate yourself with people that are successful. It doesn't just happen because it doesn't just happen even by the fact that you're educated. It doesn't just happen, just by itself. Someone, somewhere, somehow, sometime has to get up and do something and apply principles of success. And that's the only way that you'll be able to succeed. So in 2022, when we started the year, we decided that, here on Moments of Inspiration, we are going to bring guests and we're going to talk about the fact that success doesn't happen, and what does it take to make your year successful? What does it take, for you to be able to make this year successful, to be able to make 2022 different? And we, as I'm recording this in the month of May 2022, and you had a good 4 months. And the question that I have for you is that what has happened in these 4 months? What have you done in these 4 months? Can you honestly say that you are tracking towards success? Can you honestly say that you are moving towards success? That is why I am encouraging you to go back to the programs that we've recorded and to the episodes that we've had, all 9 of them. Go back, because all of them, they kind of like build towards helping you realize that success, it's not just about wishing and hoping and praying, but someone has to take action. And you know what? That someone is you. The thing that gives me hope, and that's why we will continue putting this content, is that yes, we all come from different backgrounds, we all come from different situations, and not all of us were born with a silver spoon, a gold spoon, or a platinum spoon in our mouths. But you know what? If the more I live, I also realize that I can actually do something about my situation, and I can actually do something about my circumstances. I can change. And I know that some people get offended by this and say that you don't know where I come from, you don't know what I've been through. Yes, I don't know where you come from, I don't know what I've been through, but you know what? I've learned something about principles of success. And one of the things that I've learned about principles of success is that nothing moves until you move it. Nothing changes until you change it. No door is going to open until you open it. We are waiting for an open heaven, but the heavens have already been opened. The blessings have already been poured out. The favor is already poured out. The grace is already poured out. The mercies have already been poured out. But it's up to you. What are you going to do? Are you going to grab hold of it and make it happen, or are you going to sit back and blame the government and blame your mother and blame your background and blame your neighbor and blame the government, the governing party, and blame everything that is happening in this world? I mean, there's so many things that you can look and blame and say, things have not happened, things have gone against me, maybe someone is bewitching me, whatever your circumstances is. But I'm telling you right now that I've got ample proof of years and people that have really also just woken up to the fact that, you know what, if I am going to succeed, it's going to be something that I do myself, something that I make happen myself. Whether 2022 is going to be another ordinary year or it's going to be an extraordinary year, it's in your hands. It's in your hands, my friends. It's in your hands. I've believed this with every fiber of my being, that it's in your hands. It's in your hands. It's in your hands. And I'm going to repeat it. It's in your hands. Stop looking at things that you cannot control. Stop looking at things that you cannot do anything about. Stop looking at things that are beyond, way beyond your control. Who rules this nation? It's way beyond your control. You cannot put another political party. It's way beyond. Yes, I know that you can control who you vote for, but you cannot control what other people vote for. Therefore, just take it and go out there and win and make something out of your life. You still have a whole 8 months to make 2022 a great year. Maybe 2022 started slow for you. Maybe 2022 didn't start great. Maybe 2022 has not been good, or maybe 2022 has been great. Let's not all be negative. Maybe there's certain positive things that have happened. And I want to say to you that keep on pushing. It is your season. It is your time. It is your moment. You have been called for such a time as this, and your time has arrived. Your moment has arrived. Your doors are getting open. Your favor, your moment of favor has arrived. Get a hold of it and continue to run and realize that it's going to get better. It's going to happen. If 2022 has not been great for you, just take courage. Take courage. Take courage that things can change. Life is seasonal. Things can change. It's not always going to be bad forever. It's not always going to be crazy forever. It's not always going to be negative forever. It's not always going to be dark forever. Take a look around you, look ahead, because maybe there's just a glimmer of light. Maybe there's just a glimmer of hope ahead of you. Maybe when you look, you might just see a speck of light. But you know what? Keep your eyes on that light, because that is where your hope is going to come from. It may look dark right now, but keep on walking. Keep on walking. The good book says, and one of the psalmists says, that even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. I will fear nothing, even though I'm walking through. But you know what? Do not stand in the valley of the shadow of death. Do not stand in darkness. Do not stand when things are negative. Do not stand there. Just walk through it. Walk through it. Keep on walking. Move forward, because as you move forward, you are moving closer and closer to the light. It might seem like it's 5 kilometers away. It might seem like it's 10 kilometers away. It might seem like it's 100 kilometers away. But every step that you take, it's a step closer towards that light. It's a step closer towards that place where things are going to be changing. So don't be afraid when you're walking through that darkness and that negative circumstance and that negative situation, all I can say is that gather up all the courage that you can gather, master all the courage that you can master, because there's the next step that you're going to take, and the next step, and the next step, and the next step, and the next step. It's moving you closer towards your light. It's moving you closer towards the change of season. Your season is about to change, but you know what? It's up to you that to change it. It's up to you. The more you sit in that dark place, the more you sit in that negative circumstance, is the longer you're gonna sit in that place. So, friend, get up, gather all the courage and walk, because the more you walk, the closer you are towards that place of light. Don't let me get excited on my own. I want to say to you that your season is coming. Things might be bad right now, but your season is coming. You know, life, it's a cycle. That's how life has been created. You know, there's some, even the people that you see that are succeeding, even the people that you see that you think are making it in life. There was a time in their lives when it was dark. There was a time in their lives when it was winter, when it was cold, when they were alone, when nothing was happening, when there was no fruition, when there was no fruit. But I want to tell you right now that your time is also coming. But you know, there is something about this that is stirring in me, that the longer you sit in your place of darkness, the more you sit in that place of darkness, is the longer it will take you to get out of it. So I want to say to you that stand up, dust yourself, arise and shine, because your light has come. Arise and shine, because your light has come. Arise and shine, but you need to do the arising. The power has been given to you, but you need to do the arising. So what have we been speaking about, you know, this year? We started the year when we had Candy Madisha speaking about self-introspection. You know, Candy is a friend of mine. We've been friends, you know, since I would even say primary school, and he knows what he's talking about. You know, one of the most smartest people, one of the most scientifically minded people that I know. He spoke about self-introspection, the fact that for you to be able to move forward, you need to be self-introspect. Why are you where you are? How did you get to the place that you got into? It is so important, guys. It is so important for you to self-introspect and to do so honestly. You know, to do so honestly and to say, you know what, I don't have it all together. You know, I don't have it all together. The only thing that I can do is to look. You know, and a lot of times when you introspect, you know, you have to look at yourself. You know, I remember one of my friends corrected me and say it's actually not self-introspection, because the fact that they're introspecting, it means that they're actually looking at self. And I told him that, yeah, I understand that is English, but I wanted to put self because I wanted it to be so clear. To be so clear that I am speaking to you, that I'm speaking to self, that I'm speaking to you, that you need to introspect yourself. You need to look deep down into yourself and take all the things, you know, just be honest, be brutally honest, because if you cannot be honest with yourself, you cannot be honest with anyone. Be honest with yourself, because if you are not honest with yourself, you are going to deceive. You're going to deceive yourself. You're going to go into a space of self-deception. And you don't want to go into a space of self-deception, because once you enter into that space of self, you are going to start believing lies about yourself. Guys, we need to be honest. We need to be honest. So that was the first message, self-introspection. You know, go into Zoe Life radio and really look for this message around self-introspection, where Candy Madisha was my guest. Then another good friend of mine came through, the good Rev Tumelo Muraba. We spoke about faith and reality. Friends, I don't know how to make it clearer about faith and reality. That, we have to be real. We have to. Faith does not mean that you sit and it's just God that is going to do whatever that you believe in. It's just not going to be all about some higher power and you are not participating. You need to participate. You need to be involved. You are the one that needs to wake up on a daily basis, wake up early or sleep late, do what you need to do. Faith and reality, it's so key for us to understand that just because you have faith, it doesn't mean that you are not living in the real world. The good book says that we are in the world. Yes, we are not of this world, but we are in this world. And there are principles that govern this world. And one of the principles that governs this world is that you need to work hard. You need to have a plan. You need to have a purpose. You need to have some goals. You need to have a vision. You need to know where you're going. And when you know where you're going, and when you understand where you're going, and when you are taking action, that's when you will see things coming to being a reality. You cannot blame God. You cannot blame higher power and say, well, I've got bad luck. Friends, you can make it. You can make it work. You can make it happen. And then next, we had Victor Sishoka, Vic Sishoka, who is also a very good friend of mine. I've known him for many years. He's an inspirational speaker. He's a facilitator. He's an assessor. He's a moderator, community development champion, and he's also an author of several books. What a man. What a guy. What a family, the Sishoka family. And I have to congratulate them because through their foundation, Halalelo Education Foundation, they recently hosted one of the biggest career expos that you'll ever see in this nation, in Mkhwebane Stadium, in Halubedu district. So they do this every year, and Victor goes around to schools. This year was celebrating 42 years, and he went around 42 years. We had him here, and he gave us a taste of the kind of talks that he does when he goes, to schools, and he spoke about habits of high performers and the fact that, high performance doesn't just come. There are certain habits that you need to adopt. There are certain things that you need to do on a daily basis. And the word habit speaks about something that you do all the time. It's not something that you do once, but it's something that you do all the time. It's something that you give yourself to doing all the time. You spoke about habits of high performance, and I want to encourage you to go and visit, the episode where we spoke about habits of high performance with Vic Sishoka, and just about, Hallelujah Education Foundation. They're really doing a good job. Kudos to Vic Sishoka, for making, and edging closer to that vision that they have of educating, 1 million learners in this country and all over the continent. And then next we had Miss Noma Soloko. What a lady. I mean, Sis Nomasa, I know her from church, where we were together, we're serving together in a church committee, leadership committee. Grace, whenever she speaks wisdom, she speaks grace, she speaks with eloquence, and she's thoughtful, she's very caring. She's a mom, she's a mother. You can really sense that motherly nature coming through in her talks and in what she does. And we spoke about, and she's a coach. She left the corporate job to be a coach, and she spoke about unlocking success through coaching. What an episode. This is one of my favorite episodes, this year. She spoke about coaching, the fact that coaching is not just something that superstars and sports stars do, but it's something that every person can do. And the benefits of coaching and how life coaching can actually help you and take you. Sometimes you just need help. Sometimes you're doing everything, and sometimes you've got blind spots that you cannot see. And coaching can actually help you to unlock those blind spots and to unlock, some of those things. So, catch this episode, of unlocking success through coaching with Sis Noma Seloko, and you will learn a lot. I promise you, you will learn a lot, and you will learn the importance of coaching. Get yourself a coach, and you will see some result. This is something, a layer that I'm putting in my life in 2022, because we are serious about about success. Then we had Tsetle Liteko. I mean, what a guy. I've known Tsetle also, since we were in primary school. He used to do this. There were Saturday schools at that time. I remember we used to go, together. And one of the, if not, the most intelligent person that I know personally, we spoke about learning to become relevant, to opportunities. It's so important, to have relevance, because we spoke about the fact that in 2022, there are certain opportunities that are available now. We spoke about the fact that there are things that are available now that you need to understand. And for you to be able to be relevant, you need to know what is happening in the world. You need to know how historically people have made wealth and people have been successful by following certain patterns and by being able to really predict and to really get into things quickly, and sometimes disasters and things that are happening in the world now can actually unlock certain amounts of success. So catch that. It was really eye-opening. This was one of the most watched episodes in 2022. So, if you haven't watched it yet, I really encourage you, watch this episode with Tsetle Liteko, who is an executive, really smart guy all around, very, being able to really take very complex things and really break them down, so catch the episode of learning to become relevant, to opportunities. And then we had Mr. Litlolo Mazindo. What a guy. Litlolo Mazindo, I met him on social media streets. I met him last year, and we've been in constant communication online. We're doing some work together. I'm his client, in fact. He's helping me out with certain things, in my life as a coach and as a counselor. And we spoke about how to move from survival to success. Man, this was one of the most inspirational shows, how to move, from success, from survival to success, because a lot of people, we are just doing enough to succeed, to survive. We're just doing just enough to survive. But we challenge that notion to say that, move just from surviving, move from just doing the bare minimum and move to a place of success and to a place of significance. And really, Litlolo really broke it down, for us. So, he's a professional, a counselor. He specializes a lot in marriage counseling and other forms of counseling. You contact him, his own social media. Litlolo Mazindo, he works also with together with his wife, and they do a lot of really great work. So follow them on social media. You won't regret it. And then we had Shongi Diesel. See, I don't know why he doesn't use the word diesel anymore. I know him as Diesel Masia, and I knew him through Sevik Sishok, many years ago when, they used to attend, seminars. We used to meet up in seminars, and we've been on this road for quite a long time. We've been doing a lot of seminars. We've been attending seminars, we've been doing seminars and teaching in seminars and really inspiring. And I remember we met there, but we really met, properly on social media streets as well, because at that time we were not really communicating that much. But he's a great guy, very sincere, very passionate. That's why I like the word diesel, because he's a guy that puts petrol, he lights up the fire. So catch this episode where we spoke about how to be a change agent, He really gave some very practical, anecdotal, examples around, how you can be a change agent, a great man who really, speaks his mind and doesn't mince his weight, and is not afraid to really confront situations. So follow him on social media, Shongi Masia. Follow him on social media, and you will be blessed as well. But catch this episode, how to be a change agent. Go again, like I said, to Zoe Live radio platforms, and you can catch it there. And then we had someone that I really call a powerhouse, a lady, Thandeka Mokoena. Oh my God, she spoke about holistic success. I met Thandeka, after I saw a clip of hers on I think it was LinkedIn, and LinkedIn, normally we don't really look at clips, but for some reason I bumped into a clip, and it was just a 1 minute clip, but I could hear that there is something in her, that needs to be brought here on this platform of Moments Inspiration. And she didn't disappoint. She really hoid, around holistic success, really speaking about the fact that when you are talking about success, it cannot just be about, oh, I want to make more money, oh, I just want to build a big career, oh, I want to drive a big car, oh, I want to have a big house. But it really holistic, talking about your spirit, man, also talking about the soul, talking about your mental health and all of those things, and family, bringing them all together, because what's the point of being successful and yet, your family, you are ostracized from your family, your family, is not together. So it's important that when you speak about success, that it's holistic, that you don't leave anything behind, that you're healthy in your mind, you're healthy in your body, because what's the point of having all the money in the world and be successful, and yet you are suffering mentally, you are suffering, in your body. So it's important, that you realize that success is holistic. So catch this episode when I was speaking with Thandeka Mokoena, around, she used to be on TV. So some of you who used to watch, Disky Divas will be able to recognize it. So then we spoke about, with again, Candy Madisha came back, we spoke about the power of repetition, and I want to speak about repetition again, today. We spoke about the power of repetition, and Candy, as always, he brought about a very good balance of scientific evidence as well, that it's not just about motivation and inspiration and good ideas, but it has also been scientifically proven that repetition is the best thing that you can do on your journey to success. And that's what I want to speak about today. And that's what I want to start on today, speaking about repetition. But catch this episode, with Candy Madisha, where we spoke about repetition, because it is so vital towards your success. So speaking about repetition, today I want to speak about the 7 benefits of repetition. The 7 benefits of repetition. If you've been following us on Moments of Inspiration, we know we love the number 7. And it's not because I'm a Sundance fan, Minona Pezulu, but it's because I really believe that, in everything that we speak about, I always try to find 7 nuggets. I really believe that it's a magic number in terms of 7 principles and 7 steps and 7 ways. And today we're speaking about 7 benefits of repetition. So it's gonna be great. So L19 Girl says this way. It says, whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. Whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. Repetition is one of those things that are going to make success a reality in your life. If you are looking for success, you need to realize that repetition is one of the key principles that you need to learn about success. And Napoleon Hill says this way. It says, any idea, plan, or purpose may be placed in the mind through repetition of thought. Any idea, plan, or purpose may be placed in the mind through repetition of thought. So says Napoleon Hill. And this is an age-old principle, guys, that the more you repeat something is the more it's going to get into your subconscious mind. The more you repeat something is the more it's going to become a reality. The more you repeat something is the more it's going to be a reality. The more you repeat something is the more it's going to be more vivid. The more you repeat something is the more that it becomes more tangible. The more you repeat something. I am in the marketing industry or in the marketing game, and I can tell you now, one of the things that we're always looking for is frequency, repetition. How many times are you seeing the ad? Because it has been proven that an ad starts to register in your mind after seeing it for at least 7 times. A message registers in your mind after seeing it for at least 7 times. That's why earlier I labored and went to town and tried to encourage you to go back to the recordings that we have done, this year, to listen to them again and again, because that's how they become a reality. That's how they become real. That's how they become true. You don't listen to something once and then from there forget it, because you're going to forget. It's not going to register in your mind. But the more you listen to it over and over again, is the more that it will register. So I encourage you that you really listen to it repeatedly, and the more you do it, then that's how it registers. Robert Collier says this way. He says that success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in, day out. Success is a sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Guys, it is so important. And I know when we are talking about success that, a lot of us, we don't want to this life because we consider it boring. Contrary to popular belief, variety, it's not the spice of life. Variety, it's not the spice of life. Repetition is the most important element that can help you achieve success that you need in your life. Repetition, not variety, repetition. You can have a variety of things, but all the things that you have a variety of, you need to repeat all the time for you to be success in each and every one of them. You need to repeat and repeat and repeat. Success is a sum or a series of small efforts, repetition, day in and day out. When you speak about repetition, you cannot help but bring out words like routine, and these are some of the words that we don't like. We don't like routine. We want excitement. We want huchakala, we want to chakala, and we want things to be nice. We want things all the time to, to have a variety, to have, yes, it's important. That's why you've got a bucket list. That's why people want to have different experiences. They want to experience at least something once. That's why we've got a bucket list, so that you can add. But let it stop there. Let it stop there with holidays and maybe even food. And you can add variety with those things. But there are certain things that if you want to succeed in life, you cannot have a variety and hope that it will add to your success. That's why, the people that have succeeded, one of the things that they'll always say is that they have to have routine. You have to have routine. If you interrupt their routine, if you disturb their routine, they get very upset because they know that it is that routine, it is that repetition that sets them apart. The reason why people are not succeeding is because they're not willing to stay with one thing. They're not willing to stay with one thing and repeat it over and over again until they see result. We want to touch something once and then leave it. And that's why some people are not succeeding with all the talent that they have, with all the skills that they have, with all the knowledge that they have. They're not succeeding because they are not willing to stay with something, to be patient, to be consistent with something until they see result. I want to encourage you, friend, that for you to be able to succeed, you need to stay with something. You need to stay with something. You need to stay with it. You need to repeat it. You need to do it over and over again. And here are the benefits of why it is so important to repeat. Number one, repetition facilitates learning. Repetition facilitates learning. Repetition facilitates learning. Through repetition, this is how you learn best. I remember during our days when we were in primary school, when the teachers were trying to get some concepts and get things in our minds. So what did you do? We repeated things. When we were in grade 1, I don't know if kids still do it today. I hope they do. Or those days when we were in sub A. Now I'm giving away my age. When we used to repeat the whole period of 30 minutes or whatever, we used to repeat, 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 plus 16 is 32. You used to repeat them over and over again. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. You used to repeat it over and over again. And now if someone says 1 plus 1, without even calculating it in your mind, you know why? Because repetition facilitates learning. You learn best by repetition. When you are repeating something, you are able to facilitate that learning. It is Jack Canfield who says, repetition is the key to real learning. Repetition is the key to real learning. And those are the words of Jack Canfield. I want to submit to you, my friends, that if you want to facilitate learning in your life, if you want learning to stick in your mind, repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat, because it is repetition that will facilitate your learning. Number 2, repetition provides you or gives you mastery over something. Repetition gives you or provides you or hands you mastery over something. If you want to master something, if you want to be really good at something, you have to repeat it over and over and over again. It's I remember one guy, I think it's an American baseball player. I don't follow baseball, but I do know this story. And when they were asking him, how did you, he was at that point the all-time scorer of whatever points they have with baseball. I mean, I've got very basic knowledge of baseball, but I really like this story because what he said is that when people are asking him, how were you able to hit all of these goals and all of these scores? He said something. He said that it's because I have missed more than the ones that I've hit. So what he was saying is that he was repeating the action of hitting, the action of being accurate, the action of practice, the action of exercising to be able to be good at what he does. So, and there are many that he missed. But because of the process of repetition and the process of exercise, there are many that he hit as well. So repetition provides you mastery. The more you do something, guys, it's not even science. The more you do something, the better you become at it. The more you do something, is the better you become at it. I remember, again, I'm giving away my age, the Karate Kid, you remember Daniel-san and Mr. Miyagi, when Daniel-san came to train for karate and wanted to be this karate champion, and Mr. Miyagi looked at him and said, okay, I will train you eventually, Daniel-san, and he gave him a wax, he gave him a task of washing the car. Then after I washed the car, it was a classic car. I remember that car very well in my mind now. And he gave him a scrub and he gave him 2 scrubs. And he says, the way that you wax and you polish a car is that you wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. Wax on, I remember him going and he says, Daniel-san, wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. And finally, Daniel-san was very upset and he says, what does this wax on and wax off have to do with karate? This is not karate. And Mr. Miyagi kept on saying, Daniel-san, go or wax on and wax off. And guess what? After he waxed on and waxed off the whole day, I remember, the scene very well. It became night because he was also waxing on and painting, a picket fence. And the motion was up and down, wax on and wax off, wax on and wax off, up and down. But when Mr. Miyagi now started the real training of karate and he started kicking him and punching him, Daniel-san was able to block, wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. He was able to block. How? Because he was repeating that action over and over again to an extent that it stuck with him. He was able to master the concept of defending and blocking, punches and kicks. Why? Because he was waxing on and waxing off. You have to wax on and wax off. You have to do it over and over again. That's how you gain mastery, by waxing on and waxing off. DeAndre Hopkins says this way. He says that repetition makes perfect. Repetition makes perfect. Do it over and over again. That's how you become good. That's how you become a master at it. One person spoke about doing something for Malcolm Gladwell. He has this concept of 10,000 hours. Providing you with mastery, 10,000 hours. The whole idea there is to repeat something over and over again. Because when you repeat something over and over again, that's how you gain mastery. Number 3, repetition creates top of mindedness. Repetition creates top of mindedness. When you repeat something, it becomes top of mind. When you repeat something, it becomes top of mind. It builds memory. It's something that stays top of mind. It's not something that goes down and then you have to, apply all the pressure and apply everything to be able to bring it to the fore. When you are repeating and you become good at something and you attain mastery, it creates that level of top-mindedness. It means that you are able to recall a skill, you are able to recall a concept, you are able to recall an idea Just like that, at a snap of a finger, you are able to recall and use something in the immediate time. In other words, it's not going to take you, a long time to be able to bring it out and to be able to use it, it's going to happen today and not tomorrow. So when you repeat something, it creates top of mindedness because it stays in your mind. And then moving on to number 4, that is linked to number 3, that when you repeat something, it keeps things fresh. So it creates top-mindedness, and that makes things to be fresh. You are not going to be stale. You are not going to be a hairspin. You are able to be fresh in the way that you present yourself. Be fresh in the way that you think. Be fresh in the way that things come across. As it is said that if you don't use it, you risk losing it. Use it to be able to master it and to be able for it to be top of mind and to be fresh. So when you are repeating something over and over again, it becomes top of mind and it becomes fresh. It becomes top of mind and it becomes fresh. So the fresher things are, it means is the more things you'll be able to use, and is the more things you'll be able to attain. Because when something is fresh, it's good to use today. When something is top of mind, you are able to use today, you are able to bring it out. So I want to encourage you that to take this whole concept of repetition seriously, because when you repeat, you take something and you make it top of mind, and that's something that is top of mind, you are able to make it fresh, so that you become relevant and you become someone that is of today, not tomorrow, but today. Use it today, practice it today, then it becomes fresh. It stays fresh, it stays top of mind, and you are able to use it at any time. You are able to use it at will. Then number 5, repetition builds confidence. Repetition builds confidence. The more you do something, is the more familiar you become with it. And the more you become familiar with it, is the more confident you become. Repetition delivers confidence. Repetition delivers confidence. When you are confident, you are able to enter into any room. You are able to stand before any man. You are able to speak to any man. You are able to go to any man. You are able to speak to any situation. You are able to do what you need to do without fear or favor, because when you are confident, you are able to break into walls and break every chain and break every limiting belief, because when you are confident, you are able to stand in any platform. So repetition, it builds your confidence. When you repeat something, is the more confident you become. Why? Because you master it. Why? Because it becomes top of mind. Why? It becomes fresh. You have it at your fingertips. You have it right here at your fingertips, and you are able to apply it in real time. So when you repeat something over and over again, it gives you that level of confidence that comes from a level of competency that you gain out of repetition. Number 6, repetition reinforces a depth of skill or experience. It reinforces the depth of skill or experience. Repetition, it provides depth to your skill. Repetition provides depth to your experience. You might have a skill and you might be experiencing something, but if you are not using it, and if you are not repeating it, if you are not doing it over and over again, your sharpness is going to be eroded. Your sharpness is going to be eroded. That's why it's important to repeat it over and over again. I mean, I'm thinking now, about soccer players, for example, because I love soccer, I love football. You have someone that is super talented, but when they become injured and they cannot exercise, in other words, they cannot play with the ball, they cannot repeat that motion of playing with the ball, running with the ball, that feel, if they cannot keep it fresh, if they're not able, they either stay on the bench, or when they come in, it looks like they're not themselves. This person 2 months ago, he was the most prolific goal scorer, but now they had a layoff for 2 months. They were injured, but when they come back, suddenly it's as if they're playing soccer, football for the first time. Why? Because they need that time to reinforce their skill. They need that time to deepen their skill and experience, even though the skill is there, even though the talent is there. But repetition, it reinforces it, it gives it depth, it keeps it fresh, it keeps it top of mind, and it gives you that confidence, so that when you enter into the field of play of life, when you enter into the field of play in a football match, you know the touch, you know the moves, you know the runs, you know what you need to do. So is life. When you are not repeating things, it doesn't stay fresh, it doesn't become top of mind. You lose that competence, you lose that sharpness, you lose that edge. But when you're repeating it over and over again, it sharpens that skill, it deepens that skill, it deepens that talent, it deepens that experience, so that when you enter into the field of play, you are able to do what you need to do. You are able to do what you are best at doing. So I urge you, repeat. Wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. It works. It helps you to stay fresh. It helps you to stay with it. Don't lose your skill by not applying yourself to repetition. So the last point that I have on repetition, which is point number 7, is that repetition, it builds conviction. Repetition builds conviction. Repetition makes something to be true. Repetition makes something to be vividly true, to be vividly close. Repetition, hearing something or doing something over and over and over and over again, it makes something, even though it might not be true. That's how even propaganda is built. That's how even someone like Adolf Hitler built his whole, machinery. When he was doing whatever that he was doing, he did it through building, repeating, and the machinery of the propaganda machinery, and making people, by hearing something over and over again, making it seem like it was true. So if it was done in the negative, it can also be done in the positive. The more you repeat something, the more it reinforces. The deeper the conviction is, the more it takes root, is the more rooted it becomes. And when you repeat something over and over again, it starts to ring true. It starts to be true. It starts to be real. It starts to be in front of you. You start to see it, you start to feel it, you start to go towards it, and you start to move towards it, because you are repeating over and over again, and it starts to be true. So when you repeat something, it becomes true. Robert Coiler says this way. He says, constant repetition carries conviction. Constant repetition carries conviction. With these words, my friends, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Moments of Inspiration. Join us again next time as we host another guest on this show of Moments of Inspiration. God bless you, and thank you for joining us.